Sir Henry Parkes, 1815–1896, was a foundational figure in Australian politics and is often referred to as the Father of Federation. His political career spanned over 4 decades, and he was instrumental in the movement to federate the Australian colonies. Known for his dedication to social reform, his work laid the groundwork for the eventual unification of Australia. Early life and education. Henry Parkes was born on May 27, 1815, in Stoneleigh, Warwickshire, England, into a working-class family. Parkes received little formal education and was largely self-taught, but he developed a love of reading, which played a key role in his later political rhetoric and self-education. His early years were marked by hardship, his family struggled financially, and he worked various low-paying jobs as a youth. In 1836, Parkes married Clorinda Varney, with whom he would eventually have 12 children. Like many at the time, he was drawn to the opportunities in the colonies, and in 1839, he and his wife emigrated to New South Wales, Australia. They arrived in Sydney with little money, and Parkes initially struggled to find stable work. However, he eventually secured employment at the Sydney Customs House, while simultaneously nurturing his passion for writing and involvement in social issues. Political beginnings and newspaper work. Parkes entered public life through his writings and journalism. In 1846, he founded The Empire, a newspaper through which he advocated for social reforms, including the rights of workers and opposition to transportation of convicts. Although The Empire struggled financially and ultimately collapsed, it established Parkes as a serious thinker and a committed advocate for social reform. In the 1850s, as Australia transitioned from a penal colony to a society with greater democratic structures, Parkes saw an opportunity to enter politics. He was elected to the New South Wales Legislative Council in 1854 and later became a member of the New South Wales Legislative Assembly. His political career was defined by his advocacy for social justice, especially in the areas of education and the rights of the working class. Parkes supported universal education, believing that an educated population was essential for a democratic society. Premier of New South Wales. Parkes served as Premier of New South Wales 5 times between 1872 and 1891, becoming one of the most influential political figures of his era. His time in office was marked by significant reforms, especially in education and immigration policy. Parkes championed the Public Instruction Act of 1880, which established a system of free, compulsory, and secular education in New South Wales. This act laid the foundation for Australia's public education system, ensuring that all children had access to basic education. Parkes also pursued progressive social policies in other areas. He advocated for immigration policies that encouraged British settlers to Australia, aiming to increase the colony's population and economic base. Additionally, Parkes was a strong proponent of civil liberties and supported legislation that aimed to curb the powers of the aristocracy and reduce the influence of the British-appointed governors. He sought to make the Australian colonies more self-reliant and less dependent on the United Kingdom, a stance that earned him both admirers and critics. Role in the Federation movement. Parkes is best remembered for his efforts to unite the Australian colonies into a single federation. By the late 19th century, the colonies operated independently with their own governments, laws, and policies, which often led to disputes over trade, defence, and other matters. Parkes believed that a united federation would provide stronger governance, security, and economic benefits. In 1889, Parkes delivered his famous Tenterfield oration, in which he passionately argued for the creation of a national government. This speech is often seen as the catalyst for the Federation movement. In it, Parkes highlighted the need for a unified defence system, shared infrastructure, and consistent laws across the colonies. He called on his fellow Australians to set aside their regional differences and work toward a common future. The following year, Parkes convened the Federation Conference in Melbourne, where representatives from the colonies discussed the framework for a potential federation. Although Parkes did not live to see the federation realised, he died in 1896, his work was instrumental in bringing the colonies closer together. His efforts were carried forward by other leaders, culminating in the establishment of the Commonwealth of Australia in 1901. Later years and legacy. Despite his achievements, Parkes' later years were marked by financial difficulties and personal struggles. He faced bankruptcy several times due to poor investments and financial mismanagement. His personal life was also tumultuous. After the death of his first wife, Clorinda, he married twice more. However, his later marriages were troubled, and his financial difficulties strained his relationships. Parkes continued to serve in politics until shortly before his death on April 27, 1896, at the age of 80. His passing was mourned widely, as he had become a national figure symbolizing the hope for a united Australia.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel.